So in this particular chapter, we are looking frequency responses and its Bode plot. We will also look some of its characteristics such as phase and gauge margin, probably tomorrow, and lastly Nyquist plot. Uh, so far we have drawn the Bode plot of 1 upon s and the constant gain k also. The reason being why I am choosing individual blocks, since the generic GS you can think of some k times multiplied by 1 upon s multiplied by 1 upon s plus 1 or so, in more generic sense. So that is why if you know the Bode plot of one of these individuals, you can actually make the Bode plot. I mean, in order to draw the Bode plot, overall Bode plot, it would be easier if you know the individual Bode plots. Okay, that is my idea. That is why I am taking individual blocks. We looked upon 1 upon s Bode plot and it looked something like this, and the magnitudes looked something like this, and sorry, this one, and the phase lag, it turns out to be this much. And we also have seen things on Octave Online as well. We have validated it. Today we will talk about the generic first order system. Generic first order system Bode plot. We will try to plot most generic first order system, and the first order system's transfer function GS would look something like this: 1 upon tau s plus 1, where tau is the time constant. So every generic first order system is associated with some sort of time constant which characterizes its growth or decay. Okay, that we have already looked upon. And this is s. Okay, this is your GS. So now I want to plot Bode. So what is my step 1? So let's do this. Step 1, magnitude. So in order to draw the magnitude, replace s by j omega. So this j omega reads as 1 upon tau j omega plus 1. Fine. Now what? Now the magnitude, the actual magnitude on Bode plot. This is my omega in radian per second. This would be 0.1, 1, 10, 100, 1000, and this is linear. This is log and this is linear. So magnitude is actually 20 times log base 10 and mod of j omega. You have to take. So magnitude reads as 20 times log 10 magnitude of 1 upon j omega tau plus 1 magnitude. Okay, now what? What is the magnitude of this guy over here? I can do some multiplication and division.
1 minus
Right, right.
j tau omega by
Hmm.
1 plus tau square omega square.
Right. If you
Sir, in numerator it
Sir,
will be 1
minus.
minus. In numerator,
numerator, acha,
1 minus
yes,
j tau omega.
yes. Hmm. So this is 1 square minus will be plus tau square omega square. Okay, and this would be real part and this would be imaginary part, right? So fine. If you do it carefully, it would come log base 10 1 upon under root 1 plus omega square tau square. It would come something like this. Okay, in decibels, in dB. Okay, so can you plot it here? Okay, yes, we can plot, but we should have some value of this tau. Okay, so in the most generic case, let's tau could be 1, and let's not talk in this sense. Let's talk in more generic sense. Let's not 1. But we can actually think of something like this. So let's suppose this guy over here, this omega t. So if at all my omega is much less than 1 upon tau. Tau could be any number, 1, 2, 4, 0.5, 100, 1000, anything. If 1 upon tau is much less than omega, so omega I know I'm going to vary omega, but let's start taking omega very smaller number. So when we take very small omegas, means in this region, less than 1 probably. Okay, in this region. Okay, so if we take very small omega, what it could be? Then you can tell that
Then we can assume that it
this
is
guy
1
goes
only.
away. This guy
Yes.
goes away. This guy goes away. It is very small, and we can estimate that this thing is 20 log of
0.
on 1. Thank you. This is log 0 is uh, sorry, log 1 is 0, so it's close to 0, that's for sure. So I know that it will be very close to, it will start very close to 0, somewhere close to omega. So my this guy is somewhere here. Okay, now let's take another case when omega is much greater than 1 upon tau. Okay, so very large omega. So I'm talking about these things like thousands and hundreds and something like this. Okay, so when I take that, so this guy over sitting over here is no more 0, rather this guy is a big number, this is a big number.
Sir, take omega square common.
No, what I am doing is omega square tau square would be much larger than this guy sitting over here.
But sir, if you take omega square common, then it would become 1 upon omega square plus tau square. And as you say that omega is so much big, then 1 upon omega square we can assume as
Yes,
0.
yes. I'm coming to the, I mean, you are also coming to the same conclusion what I am. So this guy I can neglect, and then this would turn out to be 20 log 10, and this is 1 upon omega tau. That's it. Okay. And this is 1 upon tau omega. I can write this guy 1 upon tau omega as omega tau to the power -1, and -1 it comes out to be here log of something to the power comes out of it, so minus of 20 log of 10 omega tau I can write. Now I can see that, so this is a function of omega now, so it is not constant, so it will be varying and it has negative slope, I mean negatively, I mean it's going down, and there will be a critical point at critical point at omega is equal to 1 upon tau, and this omega is called corner frequency. Okay, so let's suppose so somewhere here, let's suppose this is my tau, the value of tau is here, okay, some tau, maybe 1, maybe 100, maybe. So after that, so how my plot will look like, it will come, and after this guy it will be having some sort of decreasing trend, okay, and here it will have a constant trend, and in between the actual plot would be, it will have some sort of corner, but if you draw body in asymptotic sense, it will have some smooth plotting, so it will go something like this. Okay, if you do the similar analysis for magnitude also, so this is 20 log of 10 base 1 upon 1 plus omega tau square, okay. And your corner frequency, sorry, I'm really sorry, this would be 1 upon tau, no? 1 upon tau. So this I have taken 1 upon tau as my corner frequency. So after that things will change. So this is 1 upon tau. So till 1 upon tau it will come something like this, 0, almost 0, and after that it will have some sort of this, and this is a linear approximation, some sort of. And if I talk about this phi, if you do, I'm not going to go, it would have similar justification, and then you see that for lower omegas or the smaller, large, for smaller omegas it will be 0 till you reach your corner frequency, and for larger omega it will have -90. So this is 0, let's suppose this is 0 degree, this is -90 degree. So for larger omegas, sorry, smaller omegas, it will have 0 degree lag, and for larger omega it will have -90. Okay, if you do tan inverse or imaginary by real, if you do it properly, you will see, and in between you will have some sort of sloping, some sort of slope approximation. Okay, this is how it will look like. Let's verify this thing while choosing my tau as 1. Okay, so my transfer function is, let's suppose my tau is 1, so my corner frequency is omega is equal to 1 upon tau is equal to 1 upon 1. So 1 is my corner frequency, 1 radian, so this would be 1 tau s plus 1, so this reads as s plus 1. So now let's plot g s plus 1 and let's see how it looks like, and you will find that your corner frequency turns out to be 1 upon tau. 1 upon tau is equal to 1 upon 1, 1. At 1, things will change. Okay, so let's open our Octave Online. Oh, this is bad. The server is busy. This is what I did not want to. Okay, let's open MATLAB then. Okay, I'm sorry, I cannot, because this is an online software, so we have to rely on its server. And right now its
Sir,
server
actually on
seems
the
to.
day of
Huh?
test also, when I was writing,
Uh-huh.
it was giving error only.
So it means just now its server has got
Yes.
down. So
Sir,
no
then
worries.
I need to write on the at the bottom there was a space given. So
Uh-huh.
whatever the code I write, it executed on the side where the graphs are plotted.
Okay. So you have done this. So can you show me any screenshot you have?
No, sir, means on the day of test I am saying.
Oh, acha, on the desk. Acha. Fine.
So that's why I couldn't download the .m file, but I have taken the PNG file. It was written on PNG file.
Fine. चलेगा. No worries. No worries. I think कल तक काम कर रहा था शायद. आज क्यों नहीं काम कर रहा है? Okay, now it has started. Okay, fine. Sometimes, I mean, this was the first time I encountered this kind of problem. I mean, we should actually support this software. $3 per month. Oh, that's a big thing. Not per month. I can donate $3 one time, but not now. Maybe later. And we should support these softwares by some money if you have. Okay, so where is control P? No, not this one. Root locus. Yes, this is my body. So what should I write? G plus 1. Can somebody tell me? So transfer function should be numerator. Numerator should be what? This is 1, 1, right? Isn't it? So s to the power 0 coefficient is 1. S to the power 1 coefficient is 1. So 1 and 1. Fine. And numerator is 1. So I will change this guy over here with 1. Okay, and rest of the things are similar. I'll just save it and let's run this and let's see what happens. See, now the corner, we know that corner frequency is somewhere around 10 to the power 0. 10 to the power 0 is 1. So corner frequency is somewhere here. Okay, and you can see till here everything was 0, and after that it actually, the trend starts deviating, and it actually achieves this straight line for larger omega, and smaller omegas it is 0, and in between it will have certain slope. And similarly for phase also, started with 0 and it ended with minus 90 somewhere, and in between it will have some deviating trend. This is how the Bode plot of first order typical system would look like. Yes. So this is your, again, corner frequency or breakpoint. It is also called breakpoint or corner frequency. So that it changes. So this plot is near a true what you can say, true characterization of our equation, but in reality it actually deviates something like this. It goes something like asymptotically. It will go asymptotically. Okay, it will go something like this. And this also is a mere representation, but this would look something like this. Not like something like this. something like this. Okay. Now let's talk about second order system. This is our second order system, and in the last class we have already deduced our Gj omega. Okay, so let's try to plot the Bode plot for this particular system. I am going to replace my Gj omega with S, and I'm going to write everything Gj omega. Really sorry. So this omega n is not omega. This omega is n is not omega. This omega n is not omega. Omega will come here. This omega n square divided by j omega square plus 2 zeta omega n and j omega multiplied plus omega n square. You guys are able to differentiate between omega n and omega, right? Omega n is,
Yes, sir.
is my natural frequency. That is a system parameter. Okay, it is being designed by system, or it is being implicitly given by system. System inherits it actually. This omega n also, and this zeta also, this damping ratio also, zeta. Zeta, if I remember, it is C by C critical, and C critical turns out to be under root, probably, if I'm not wrong, KMC something, if I'm not wrong. Go and check in the literatures. Currently I don't remember it, but it would be given for a particular system. Okay, and when we try to plot the magnitude, so magnitude is 20 times log of 10 mod of Gj omega, and when we do this properly, we get the expression something like this. For this particular case, we get minus 20 log base 10 under root 1 minus omega by omega n square to the power whole square plus 2 zeta omega by omega n whole square. Okay, this square plus this square. This is what you will get if you do the magnitude analysis. Okay, now here notice that we already have I already have motivated you guys. Whenever your omega reaches to omega n natural frequency, whenever your forcing frequency or your dependent frequency, what you are going to force it your system, and if it matches with your natural frequency of the system, inherited system, things will go under resonance. Okay, mostly undergoes resonance if your zeta will be a deciding factor. If the zeta is low enough, okay, then it will definitely undergo resonance. If zeta is large enough, then it will have some sort of damping, more damping in the system. Then it will not undergo a resonance, but it will have some peak or some transient behavior. Okay, here also, if at all, if my omega is omega by omega n, let's suppose we'll talk again two cases. When omega is small, we'll talk two cases. When omega is small, yeah, smaller than, I mean, let's go here. So let's suppose this is 0.11 10 100 1000. So whenever I am talking about these region, so when this is small, so omega by omega n is very much less than 1. Okay, if it is small, omega is small, then omega by omega n is much less than 1. Okay, and if it is less than 1, then this guy goes away, straight away goes away, and this also is negligible in comparison to that. This also goes away. So this is close to minus 20 log of 1, and which is equal to close to 0. So here also we see that we will start with plot something starting with 0 until we reach. So this will be 0 until we hit omega n. Let's suppose my omega n is somewhere around 1. Let's suppose. I know that my natural frequency is 1 radian per second. So at 1, what will happen? Let's see. So if my omega is large, no, okay, at omega n, we should not talk right now. When omega is large, then again, you can see that this 1 will be neglected in place of omega by omega n this time, and it will be written approximated as minus 20 log of 10 something around omega by omega n whole square. If you do it properly. Okay, this guy. So when omega increases by a factor of 10 magnitude, so this is a square. So the magnitude increases as a factor of, the overall magnitude increases as a factor of 100. Sorry, 100. So 100 will be inside. I mean log of 100. In some thumb rule, you can say. And there will be a negative sign here, minus 20 log of something. So in the sense that for larger omegas, it will have a decreasing trend of slope something estimated by this guy. Okay, and in between, whenever it reaches omega is equal to omega 1, omega n. So when omega is equal to omega n, let's see. So omega is omega 1. So this guy overall this guy is 0, and overall this guy comes out to be 2 zeta. Okay, now it solely depends upon zeta, and higher the value of zeta, it will show some sort of peak and go something like this. This will go something like this. And if we, so this is for some zeta. So if zeta keeps on increasing, you will have decreasing trend. Okay, so this trend shows, this way zeta is increasing. Similarly, if we talk about phi, so this is magnitude and this is phi. With similar explanation, the phi would start from 0 and it will reach minus 180 at larger omegas, and it will start from 0 and it will have some deviating trend this fashion. Okay, and depending upon zetas, we will have less the system would be springy, the system would be less springy, so in that sense. So let's try to plot in our octave. GS is equal to, let's suppose my omega n is 1 for the time being, so 1 upon, so this would be 1 square 1 upon s square plus I will take zeta as, for the time being I will take zeta as 0.1. Let's see, omega n is 1 s plus 1, so this comes out to be 1 upon s square plus 0.2 s plus 1. Let's try to plot the Bode plot of this particular guy, s square plus 0.2 s plus 1. This would be a springy system, it will have some sort of jump. Let's open our Bode plot. So here I just have to make this thing 0.2 space 1, and that's it. So my system is ready. I'll save it and let me run that. See, you can see at your corner frequency, that, sorry, not corner, the natural frequency, omega is equal to, since this is a second order system, so it will be characterized by omega n, and here it was a first order system, so it will be characterized by your time constant, and this will be characterized by your omega n natural frequency. So you will have some jump depending upon your zeta value, and yes, this is the plot. Okay, and in the last class somebody has asked what is this answer. This answer, I don't know, even I didn't get any fruitful answer on internet. Maybe I don't have any idea why this is minus 15 something is throwing some number. Maybe this is a bug, you don't have to worry much about it. Okay, let's try to manipulate here, and let's try to increase my zeta value to probably 1. Okay, so when I put my zeta value as 1 here, so 2 times 1 times s, so it will be 2 times s, and my system would be 1 upon s square plus 2s plus 1. Okay. Now let's see how this system behaves in my Bode plot. So I'm going to just omit this too. Let me save this and let's run this. See, now your system has been damped. You don't see any resonance feature, whereas here you have seen when your system is springy, you have seen it is going to resonate with your natural frequency, and it tries to break your system, fail your system. Why? Your magnitude is so high, magnitude becomes so high that your system may fail. And here is how you are going to design your control system or any plant. Okay, like your bridge or your let's suppose you are a civil engineer and you are making a earthquake resist building. So you are going to design your beams and columns in such a way that it gives you a higher zeta, or yes, obviously higher zeta. That's it. That should be your goal. So higher zeta, so if you cannot fully capture the physics here because you don't know how you are going to model your beams and columns, but in the sense we have modeled our spring mass damper system. You can actually increase your damping coefficient C and thus making your system more stable. Okay. Okay, so in the next class, I'll talk more GS, more generics or overall GS, which could be actually have G1s, G2s multiplied, G3s, and G4s, and which could have all these G's that are associated with it. The GS could be K, this could be 1 upon S, this could be 1 upon 2S plus 1, this could be second order system, maybe S square plus S plus 0.5, and these are multiplied. So you may have a generic plant, as HK upon S 2S plus 1 times S square plus S plus 0.5, and now you want to uh, write the Bode plot of it. So what we do is we take individual Bode plots. Of K, 1 upon S, 1 upon 2S plus 1, and we try to sum it up in some sense. Not exactly sum it up. We'll see what we do, what modification or what alteration we do in our method in order to capture the Bode plot for this. And also we will look, you can actually today itself you can look in Octagon line, and we can match it with our own hand calculation. Okay, so that's it for today's lecture. Any doubt? So let me take the attendance. So if no doubts, we can leave the meeting. Thank you.